Now I'm going to start this video by saying that ESO and a regular Elder Scrolls game are not really the same animal. In fact, it's like comparing apples to oranges. Both games have their strengths and their weaknesses. And although these things are not things that are currently found in current Elder Scrolls titles, I would love to see these features taken straight from ESO and implanted into the next Elder Scrolls game. So without further ado, here are 5 things that the next Elder Scrolls game could steal from Elder Scrolls Online. Our first pick is actually going to be one that is a bit lighthearted, although sort of controversial. Throughout the Elder Scrolls games, there are tons and tons of weird animals that would make great mounts. Are you telling me that the Dovahkiin doesn't have enough force to ride a woolly mammoth or tame a sabered tiger? No, this guy can ride a bloody dragon. So why can't the Nords tame a tiger or a mammoth, for that matter? In Elder Scrolls Online, you can ride any manner of beast as long as you have the patience to obtain it. I have ridden on Shadowmare. I have ridden on a tiger that is also part Spriggan. And I've even ridden on a giant wolf. These are things that could be in the next Elder Scrolls game, although with the addition of a unicorn in the Creation Club update coming soon, it might seem that we might get some more mythical creatures in Elder Scrolls sooner rather than later. Now for my next pick, I actually have something that's really simple and it's really weird that it is not in any of the Elder Scrolls games past Oblivion, and that are guild rewards. Guild-related perks and spells, skills, anything. It's weird that you can become the Archmage of the College of Winterhold, and you don't have access to forbidden knowledge that only the Archmage should have. Or how about becoming the leader of the Fighters Guild, and technically all you get is a posse of adventurers that you can send to do various things and collect contracts on. Or how about the fact that you can become the listener to the Dark Brotherhood and yet you don't obtain any interesting and weird abilities from it? ESO does a much better job of making its guild system more intertwined with your character. The further you advance in a guild, the more abilities you get that actually relate to that guild. For example, as a member of the Dark Brotherhood, one of my characters loses their bounty faster for murder. Another one of my characters is a Paladin Fighters Guild member who is able to summon a crossbow in order to hit their enemies. These are the things that could easily be added in as powers granted to the player for being the Archmage, for being in the Fighters Guild, for being in the Dark Brotherhood, and yet they are not as simple as they are. Now we're going to round out into a bit of a controversial one. The Elder Scrolls magic system, as far back as Oblivion, has been lackluster. When it was invented, I'm sure it was very revolutionary for the time, and I know in Morrowind you could just create spells. And in Oblivion you could do something similar. That feature was dropped by Skyrim, but just creating your own spells isn't enough. Nothing about being a magic user revolves around getting better at performing magic. All it revolves around is you picking up better and better gear, better tomes, more money so you can buy tomes. Every one of my magic builds for Skyrim have started with me finding the closest court mage and grabbing as many books as I can. ESO corrects this with their spell/skill system. Each spell you have evolves as you use it. And I'm not saying rip this directly from ESO because it's definitely been adjusted for an MMO. But just picture this for a moment. You are a summoner. you summon your familiar, which is the most basic summoning spell you can do as a summoner. At some point, you have a choice to make. You can start summoning Daedra, or you can summon more ethereal animals. Which one would you pick? Do you want to be a spirit summoner, or do you want to be a Daedric summoner? And this is sort of the idea that ESO uses. You have to pick how you're going to evolve your character. Your magic evolves with you. And I would love to see something similar in a game like Skyrim. It would be amazing for my mage character to feel like his choices are what shape him to be the next archmage. Now, the next one on the list is actually something that I have attempted to make in Skyrim as a mod. I have always found it a little weird that the materials that you craft with and the style you craft with are one and the same. Who's to say I know how to make Dwarven armor just because I now know how to make Dwarven metal? It's one of those things that I always considered a weird game quirk of the Elder Scrolls games. As your armor progresses, the style changes, but it changes drastically and almost into completely different versions of what your character would be used to. Realistically, if you were a blacksmith who's growing up in Skyrim or Cyrodiil, you would use your own styles in your armor creations. If you were an Imperial who grew up in the Imperial City, you would have a very Centurion style that would transcend the materials that you make it with. This is the one thing ESO does incredibly right. By making it so that every race has their own unique style that they make their own armors out of, it makes even the most generic bandit camps more interesting to traverse. Because not only are you contesting with natives, but non-native adventurers throughout the world. And you can tell when they're not native to the province that they are invading. It's a very fascinating thing to watch as you go through a bandit camp, and without any story or dialogue, you can tell these are raiders from Skyrim and they are attacking Hammerfell. Well, not specifically Hammerfell, but still you get the point. It's within the Daggerfall Covenant. This is one of those things that makes organic world design possible, and on top of that, it also makes everything a little bit different. Just picture your Nord character is taking their heritage with them to a new land that has nothing to do with them. They may be in the Altmeri Dominion. They may be in the Daggerfall Covenant for all we know. They may as well be in wherever Redfall is. And also something that bugs me. Why did the Imperial Legion march into Skyrim without winter gear? There's no reason to go into Skyrim, a snowy tundra hellscape by your own definition, with armor as light as that. And now comes what I would consider the most important addition to the Elder Scrolls that has been added by ESO, and that is Outlaw Refuges. When you are a thief or an assassin, you pretty much have to play it a specific way. You run away from the guards, and then when they stop attacking you, you find one, pay your bounty, and then you're good. There isn't really a way for a character who isn't an outstanding citizen to play the game effectively, gain quest, housing, food, supplies. You pretty much either play the game as an outstanding citizen or you don't play at all, and you spend the entire time out in the wilderness trying to rough it out. But you can't get property. You can't go to your properties unless you have a property outside of a hold. And this is one of those things that, although Oblivion had the Outlaw House, or the Dark Covenant House, Skyrim does not. And it's one of those things that I actually feel like bad characters, like characters who are morally not good, are characters who get screwed the most in a game that allows you to be that bad character. Outlaw Refuges are a safe haven for thieves and assassin characters who have already accounted for a bounty, and it's a place for them to sell stolen goods, obtain supplies, get rid of their bounty. These are the places that they would go to lie low. And personally, I would love to see this one in any future Elder Scroll game, and I would love to see a mod made that adds refuges to Skyrim, because they are so nice to have, especially when dealing with a character who isn't on the best side of the law. And there you have it. 5 things that ESO could have stolen from it and transplanted into the next Elder Scrolls game. Some of these are pipe dreams, but some of these are things that I really do think should be in the game. Especially that last one. Like, how many of your characters have to rely on either being a listener to the Dark Brotherhood or a prominent member of the Thieves Guild before they can actually get rid of any of their stolen goods? Yeah, that's a little it's a little lopsided there in the gameplay. So I thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed watching, you can leave a like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully I will be able to make more videos like this in the future. This has been a while since I've done a video like this, so I'm glad if you enjoyed it. So just look at the title card and listen to some glorious ESO music, because the music's actually pretty good. Alright, I'm going to stop yammering. Wolfie, out.